At the ripe old age of 10, Jake Hostetter has already learned something some adults never do.
I know that if you have a good attitude, that you can really do anything.
But if anyone has the right to complain, it's Jake.
The only difference from me and the other kids is that my legs are a little slower and I walk differently.
Jake suffers from cerebral palsy, a disease he's fought since birth.
Come on, guys!
And to be honest, football seems like the last sport he should try.
It's not impossible!
But Jake had his reasons.
Well, my motivation was basically a girl.
So with the help of his best friend Dominic Yazwick, Hostetter decided to put on the pads. He's now impressing far more than just one.
When guys maybe get tired or get wore out and think that they can't go on, they just look over at Jake and he's working hard and pushing himself.
To come out here and to do all this type of stuff, and I push my limits.
Jake has a friend experiencing a similar situation.
Jake, you gonna get in this?
Yeah. I hope I get in.
Dude, you're our secret weapon.
Teammate Jimmy Warren suffers from a less aggressive form of the disease. Warren has minimal use of his left side, but these two continue to fight for playing time.
What's your question, Jake? That's it?
I think that you should put me in and let me run the ball because nobody tackles me.
And on this day, with his parents and grandparents watching from the stands, Jake lines up as an offensive lineman.
To be able to see him doing something that we didn't think he'd even be able to walk, so let alone him out there playing football, it's unbelievable.
I think I influenced my teammates by just having the courage to walk out here and, do it. Maybe not everybody else feels that way, but I do, and I make the best of it. Yeah! Yeah!
For MyValleySports.com, I'm Joe Aulisio.
Story is Joe Aulisio. Joe.
Yes, Dan, if you are lucky enough to know Bill, you know his attitude about as positive as one can have. It's an understatement to say that served him well in the biggest fight of his life.
There's no better way to wrap up the regular season than to play your arch rival.
Just a few years ago, it was an afterthought for Bill Castrovince to spend 5 minutes a night using his words to guide viewers through a sportscast. But on a fall day in 2011, his fiancée Carolyn asked him a question, and he had every intention of using his words to answer.
I just could look at her and just go, yeah, and I just couldn't talk.
After a trip to the emergency room, Castrovince was admitted to University Hospitals in Cleveland. He had a brain tumor. He underwent surgery and found out 2 weeks later it was cancer.
I had a glioblastoma, and a grade was 4 out of 4. And then the doctor said, well, a year from now, 100 people that have this, 50 will be here and 50 won't.
The odds didn't faze Castrovince. The same can't be said for the battle he faced. 6 weeks of treatment, radiation 5 days a week, chemo 7 days a week.
My body wasn't doing so well with the chemo pill and everything like that. So it was a photo finish to get it done, and it was awful.
However, those awful feelings produced some positive results. Currently, Castrovince is cancer-free. In fact, just about 10 months after having brain surgery, he and Carolyn married.
I feel like, I've been part of his family for 10 years now. We kind of got past the, getting to know each other, and now we're, dealing with serious issues.
Which for Bill, there are still many.
But the elements will never stop us.
The most immediate directly involves day-to-day interaction.
We'll take you across the state for some of the best stories.
The speech thing is still a problem.
Currently employed by Classic Teleproductions in Twinsburg,
it's time for us to take a time out.
Castrovince gets his fair share of practice producing stories and co-anchoring a weekly show.
Well, the state track champion,
wherever the tumor was, once it's replaced, everything has to be reconnected. And that's where I'm still at.
But the biggest factor helping him improve, the support he's been shown by his wife, family, personal friends, and the ones he's made through television.
And you can't get through it alone.
Joe Aulisio, 33 News. East Palestine resident Chelsea Figley dreams of one day being an Olympian.
The hardest part about lifting is trusting who you're with.
The 27-year-old is a power lifter and makes daily visits to the workout center in Columbiana. Her trainer, owner Brian Ranieri.
It isn't just, well, it's okay that you can't do that. He finds a way for me to do it.
Finds a way because Figley is not your typical power lifter. She was born with spina bifida, a birth defect that causes Figley to be paralyzed from her waist down.
Even whenever people try to include me, I still feel very different.
But regardless of her handicap, Figley probably should feel different. She works out a lot harder than most, training countless hours in the hopes of qualifying for the 2012 Paralympic Games.
You become very innovative on how you do things and what you do with it.
We take all kinds of equipment and rig it up.
Stability is a huge factor on it. So actually reteaching her how to bench press and stay as tight as she needs to stay.
He can tell by the way I hold myself what muscles are there and what to try.
Figley has already qualified for the World Paralympic competition in Malaysia this summer. Her best lift thus far, 190 pounds.
I know when she's grunting and she's hollering a little bit that we're gonna have a good one that day.
I've always had a dream of wanting to work up to an elite level with someone that wanted to be there with me.
Olympics or not, that dream has already come true.